How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Timberborn, and welcome back to the Iron Isles. I have a bit of an idea that's going to be a little bit of a change of plan from what I talked about in the last episode. Now, if for whatever reason you didn't watch that one and you are watching this one, basically we got golems, we got the robot beavers, and I talked about taking over the world, essentially. And, that's basically what the plan is. Now, the plan has slightly changed from taking over the world to taking over a district. And so we're going to start today by canceling this large warehouse build and replacing it with some golem charging stations. Because what I want to do is take over District 3 and turn it into an industrial powerhouse. And essentially, I'm going to do that by replacing every beaver in this district with golems. Now, to do that, it's going to be a little bit of a pain because I'm going to have to get the charging stations in there, and the charging stations are going to take planks, gears, and metal blocks. So it's going to take time to build those, which is not ideal. But then eventually, I'm going to have to get rid of all the farming as well because golems don't eat. I'm going to have to get rid of all this water infrastructure because golems don't drink. And I'm probably going to get rid of the bakery. I mean, I am going to get rid of the bakery and the grist mill because we're not going to be farming. I'm going to get rid of the grills because we're not going to be farming. I'm going to get rid of the farmhouses because, you guessed it, we're not going to be farming. What we are going to be doing is a lot of forestry, though. So as much as I want rid of this water infrastructure, obviously we need to keep it for now. But what I can do is go and get rid of these planned builds down here because essentially we don't need them. I do want to keep this connection, though, because I want to put forestry on this chunk of land down here. And I also want to get forestry on this chunk of land just over here. Now, obviously, that's a little bit of a longer-term thing, but that's kind of the idea, is we're going to just have massive amounts of forestry out here, down here, and over here. So this entire island is going to be cleared and replaced with forestry, which, some of this island already was forestry. A lot of this island was originally forest, but, you live and you learn, you clear things, you plant a bunch of farmland, you realize, hey, actually, maybe I don't want that farmland. It's fine. I think this is going to be a good idea. And there's a couple of reasons I think it's going to be a good idea. Reason number one is it lets me sort of do a test, like a trial run of a district with only golems to see what the sort of the hitches might be, see where the hiccups might be. But it also lets me just produce a massive amount of things, because what I'd like to do is get a huge number of engines down here and then get a huge number of smelters so that we can make a huge number of metal blocks, because that's kind of where the hitching is in the process of making golems at the moment. Metal blocks are taking forever to get made. Now, admittedly, golems are also made from a lot of wood. It's planks and gears, planks and metal, planks, gears, and metal. So we still need the planks, we still need the gears, and that's something we need to stay on top of. But metal takes forever. So that's kind of what I'd like to do. I'd like to try and turn this place into an industrial powerhouse, but I think before we can even do that, we need to upgrade District 2. Because District 2, at the moment, as soon as a drought comes along, basically stops metal production. I mean, we have 3 smelters, we can only run 2 of them at a time, because the network doesn't produce enough electricity. So I think what I'm going to do, even if this ends up being something that I have to tear apart later on, is I'm going to put a bunch of new engines into this district. We don't necessarily need this many of them, but I'm going to build this many of them because I think it's going to be kind of fantastic. And so that's going to be space for 1, 2, 3. It's going to be 3 or 4 new engines, basically. So let's go ahead and just get this right about here. Let's get this right about here. And then we'll need to clear out this space for some power shafts at some point, but that's something we can do a little bit later on as well. So what we'll do is bring some platforms across this way. We can get ourselves a path right in front of them. And then all of the power, like I said, is going to be sort of behind the engines. Now, for now, what I'll do is get myself a T-intersection there because we're going to need it for an engine. This engine is not going to need a T-intersection. So hold on a minute. Let me try and figure this out. There's an engine there. So that's the middle of engine number 1. This is the middle of engine number 2. This is the middle of engine number 3. And this actually needs to go over by one more to be the middle of the next engine. So that's totally fine. We can get some platforms here and here. At least I think I've done this. I'm going to probably just measure this out with actual engines, to be honest, rather than placeholders. So let's just take a quick look and see. So engine 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, so that's perfect. Now that is a lot of power. It is a ridiculous amount of power, but I think it's going to be worth it, even if we just get 1 or 2 more engines, because it does mean that we can go ahead and keep all of these smelters running. It means that the metal production is going to continue even through a drought, and that's kind of the big problem right now, is that metal production does not continue through droughts. So we'll see how things go, is what we'll do. And actually, just to get ahead of things, let's go ahead and mark these resources for demolition as well, just to clear out that space. And honestly, if I prioritize that, it won't take long. So we'll get those cleared, and then we can put down the power shafts as well. So we're going to have power shafts here, I think. Oh man, I don't necessarily know what the spacing is going to be on this. I know this is going to be a right angle turn. So that's the middle. That goes there. This is a T-junction. This is a straight section. So there, and there. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay. I didn't need to get rid of these guys. Well, I needed to get rid of that one, but yeah, this is fine. So that's okay. That's the plan for District 2. And that's going to take a while. It's going to be a little while before that gets built, because engines use, if I remember right, a lot of gears, a lot of metal. It's going to be a while. I might even want to move golems into District 2 to take over metal production so they can do it around the clock. I don't know. That's the thing. I just don't know. Although I guess, hold on, what does an engine need? It needs gears, damn. Okay, so we do need planks and we do need this. Man, that's, okay. Yeah, we're just going to have to let that upgrade go ahead. That's no big deal. As for down here, it is going to take a while, like I said, for these charging stations to get up and going, but to be honest, as soon as the first one is up and running, technically we could move golems down here, and we could have them probably help with a few things at the very least, but I don't know. I feel like the golems are doing just fine where they are. We also have one running around not doing anything, so I'll tell you what I'll do with him. We'll go ahead and get that golem to work in the deep water pump for now. We will eventually put our beavers back into all of these jobs, but for now, the golem can go and live in the deep water pump. And we are working on another one, which is going to be done pretty soon. So that'll be nice. And I guess my hope with all of this is that we can increase the production of golems. I think there's definitely a chance that we move. There's definitely a chance that we build another golem part factory. And I consider this tower to be one factory. Obviously, it's 3, but I think there's definitely a chance we build another one of these towers in District 3. We might even build another assembler, to be honest. There's definitely a chance that we build another assembler. I don't know. I honestly don't know if we need another assembler until we're making massive numbers of parts. Like when we have a massive number of parts in storage, maybe that's when we build the assembler. That might be the smarter move there, but I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know if it makes sense. I don't know if it's a good idea. I guess we'll hold off and just see what happens. So this construction's actually coming along really, really nicely. They've got a good number of materials into this second engine. The metal blocks are going to take a while, but that was to be expected. What's also cool is we actually have 9 beavers at the moment with a 10th on the way. That beaver's not going to take too long, but what I think I'm realizing is that gears are definitely a good part of what's holding us back on the golem production here. So I'm gonna be a little bit cheeky, I think, and I'm gonna say that we can have a golem working in this gear workshop so that the gear workshop can kind of just work around the clock. We have 24 planks in District 1 right now, so I think this will improve the gear output and hopefully keep the golems going quite nicely. We have also got a good number of logs in here, so I think honestly we can probably switch this lumber mill over to a golem, and as soon as the new golem gets made, I mean, it's 59% of the way there, that golem can go and work in the lumber mill. So planks and gears will kind of be a 24/7 thing in District 1. And obviously, long-term plan is move that 24/7 production down to District 3, but again, that's long-term plan. That's going to be a while. We don't even have a charging station built down here yet, which is a bit unfortunate. It would be nice if we did. If we could get some metal blocks down here, that would be kind of fantastic. But we're going to be waiting, unfortunately. We do have metal blocks being produced. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go over here and I'm going to cancel the metal block shipment to District 1. Because we kind of need them right now. We're going to need a lot of metal blocks for all of these charging stations. So this is now going to be focusing on, you know, metal blocks for this district specifically. In fact, oh, we're only moving food out to the other districts. Never mind. We're doing fine there. I was wondering if we were using gears for our own construction, but we absolutely are. So that's fine. I will say, I feel like we should get rid of not get rid of, but probably pause the paper mill and printing press because we're not doing anything with those books. So we'll kind of keep those paused. We'll see what happens. And I think, yeah, we do have 10 golems now. So yeah, these things are now working fantastically. So hopefully golem production picks up a little bit. We need some golem chassis and limbs to get another one going, but hopefully not too long on that one. Oh, and we have a drought coming in 3 days, so hopefully we can go ahead and get this engine built before then. I kind of have my doubts, but hopefully that's a thing we can do, because it means that the metal production will continue in that district, up in District 2. But meanwhile, I was actually looking down here and thinking that this would probably be a pretty good place to build a floodgate. Now, a floodgate will block water up to an adjustable height, which means I could let water through there if I wanted to, but if I build a floodgate here, I don't really plan on letting water through, I'm going to be honest with you. So this would start to push, you know, instead of the water flowing down here, it'll flow kind of down and around. It'll probably flow out down here, but it'll start the process of turning this entire space into more of a lake, I guess. I'd have to block this off as well, or at least block this off, but I don't hate this idea. I don't hate this idea at all, so I'm going to start looking at getting some floodgates right there. We'll have to get, I guess, some platforms here as well. Now, this is going to be something that doesn't get built for a long time, because we have to obviously sort of, you know, come around here and get around here as well, but I think that'll be within the district's sort of boundaries. This over here might not be, so we might have to establish a new district up on that chunk of land, but not really too worried about that. In fact, I think what I'll do, just while we're here, is, let's see, how did I do this? I think we'll just go ahead and put another set of floodgates in here. They don't need to be floodgates. I don't really plan on letting the water through here, but the floodgates are kind of cool, so we'll go ahead and put them in here anyway. So that's where those are going to go at some point, and again, that's hopefully going to contribute to making this sort of a lake. And then I guess over here we should, I guess this is the part that we should probably block off, isn't it? And I think I will use floodgates here specifically because if we do a district like over here, we're going to need water to get through there. So yeah, I think that's probably fair enough. Let's go for, I want to say like here. And I think what I'll do this time around is get some levees at sort of either end right there, and that'll be just fine. So we'll get some platforms like so, we'll get a path just like so, and that will actually connect around quite nicely for this, which, I mean, is probably going to be a pair of separate districts, but not the end of the world for now. We'll get that, so, you know, all looked at and sorted out as soon as we can. And then coming up this way, I mean, we could block this off if we wanted to. We could probably block this off if we wanted to. We already have this, you know, ready to be blocked off if we wanted it to. I don't really think I want to do that, though, so we'll sort of leave it be. I think my plan really is to try and turn this whole space into a lake, really. I think that's what I'm trying to go for. Although, I will say, I'm very tempted to start looking at redirecting the water a little bit. That's something we can totally do. So in the way that we kind of have, you know, water flowing through here super quickly, what you could do, in theory, is, I mean, I'll pause while I do this because I don't actually want to do it, but say I was to block all of this. You've got a lot of water trying to go that way. But what I could do, in theory, I mean, how wide are these guys? They're 2 blocks. So what I could do, in theory, is open up, say, 1, 2, 3, 4 of those, and then have some levees that kind of go this way and some levees this way. And that's suddenly going to channel all of this water through that space, right? So that's good. It's going to have really fast flowing water through that space. I could then get some water wheels, and they'd probably have to be raised up a little bit, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so I could get some water wheels. I could go for the large ones. I could go for the compact ones. It doesn't really matter. I can go for either or. And let's say we do the compact ones, you know, do this, basically. And this will generate however much power it generates, because we'll have fast flowing water through there. That's something I'm considering doing, and it's something we probably will do. I just think what I'd like to prioritize is this golem production for now. I think that's kind of where I'm at. But I also, you know, I've been talking forever about turning this into a lake or a reservoir or whatever we want to call it, so I think a little bit of work towards doing that's good. I also realize we actually do have a charging station down here now, so we'll prioritize this second one, and I'm really tempted to move some golems down here. I think I'm gonna move a golem or 2 down there. So let's take a golem out of this water pump, because we don't really need them there. And where else do I have golems working? I have them working in the grist mills. I have them working in the bakeries. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8, 9 right there. That's 9 golems working. All right. Let's take 1 golem out of the grist mill. So that's going to give me 2 golems. And the reason I want to do that is because I want to move 2 of those golems down to District 3. So from District 1, we're going to go to District 3, and we're going to go 1 and 2 golems down to District 3. That gives us 2 unemployed golems, but that's okay, because I'm going to go ahead and unlock the ability for them to work in this smelter. We're going to put a golem into the smelter, and that means that the decent little stockpile of scrap metal that we have in this district can now be worked through quite consistently and quite efficiently, which means that the charging stations will hopefully get built that little bit quicker. And I'm also kind of thinking that we could definitely do with more wood production down here. So maybe we should clear out some of this farmland and slowly start replacing it with some trees. So this bit here can go away. I'm pretty sure we can survive losing that, considering the amount of potatoes we have over there. And I'm going to replace this with just pine trees, so that we kind of have a little bit more of a regular cycle of trees coming in, with the occasional bonus of the chestnut trees. And there it is. The drought has started, and I don't know if District 2 got that engine done. It didn't, although it is kind of close to getting it done. It needs 7 more metal blocks, which kind of sucks. I'm not going to lie. That kind of sucks, because those metal blocks are unlikely to get done. Although I guess what I could maybe do is, for now, turn off the lumber mill, turn off the gear workshop, and that means that whatever power this guy generates, which is 400, goes to these guys, and they use 200. Although that also means I need to turn this thing off, which I'm going to do, and I'm going to turn off the control tower because it's going to be consuming my science, and I'm going to pause this control tower as well. So now this guy is still not generating enough, which is because, yeah, it also has to go to the grist mills. Okay, well, at the very least, we should be able to produce a little bit here. It's not going to be as efficient as it could be, but I think that's okay. 5 more metal blocks are needed. I'm pretty sure we can make those. It's a 7-day drought. We do have enough water. We do have enough food. I'm almost tempted to say that we could maybe look at moving some metal blocks from District 3 to District 2, but I don't know if it'd be worth it, to be completely honest. I kind of don't, because, I mean, by the time it gets there, I just don't know. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm also thinking that we probably really don't need these grist mills going around the clock, but it's nice. I'm going to keep them there because at this point they've been doing that forever anyway. So now we have 5 golems down here in District 3. I think I'm going to make a pretty big change because we're getting towards the point where I'm getting ready to start moving beavers out of this district. The first thing I want to do is swap out this beaver for a golem. So it's going to be golems working the lumber mill. It's also going to be golems working the gear workshop because that's going to help us quite nicely. We do have a little bit of wood in storage and, well, logs in storage. Not too sure how long those will necessarily last, but that's okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of these farmhouses because we just don't need them. And I'm going to say that we want to mark all of these resources for demolition. Absolutely everything on this island is going to be stripped right back, and we are going to basically have nothing but trees on this island. Now, I do want that to be a bit of a priority because I do want it to be done kind of quickly. So the quicker the better in terms of stripping all this out. It will probably take a while. It's a lot of resources to get rid of. But as soon as it's done, we can put a forester out here. We're going to need irrigation as well, of course, but we can get to work. And that's sort of the idea with all of this, is that we can go ahead and just sort of get to work quite nicely. In fact, I'm slightly tempted to put irrigation here because I'm pretty sure it'll cover these few trees that aren't getting irrigated. And then it'll cover this section quite nicely, but I don't know how efficient that's necessarily going to be. And I do want to try and be at least kind of efficient with what I'm doing. So let's have a little look. Let's get some levees here. And I don't really know what the coverage is going to be like on any of this. And I really should probably count out just how good my levee coverage is going to be, but I'm just going to wing it is what I'm going to do. I'm also going to go a little bit excessive and actually make these into little squares rather than just the sort of cross thing that I've been doing, just because I think the little squares look nicer. And then what we can do is get ourselves a water dump right there and a water dump right there. And that'll give us decent coverage at the very least. We can also, I suppose, get ourselves a couple of foresters. If I put one here, that coverage honestly isn't too bad. Getting one there is a bad idea. So we'll go for, does that cover the entire island? It almost covers the entire island. It doesn't cover a little bit down there, annoyingly, but not really the end of the world. I think what I'll do is I'll put a forester right there, and then I'll run a path straight to him. We'll get some stairs right there, and that should deal with the coverage up here. And so that will be the entire island covered by one forester golem at that. So that'll hopefully be good. That'll hopefully work out for us. Hopefully production around here keeps up, which would be lovely. We do actually have 9 gears and 9 metal blocks, so let's, I suppose, go ahead and unpause construction of this charging station, and that'll give us 3 of them, which will be great. We do have another golem on the way, and this engine needs 1 more metal block to be finished. So if we could get that, it'd be kind of great, because it means that a lot of this space will be able to get back up and running, which it currently isn't doing very well. This thing is not very efficient, but I mean, I guess at the very least, despite the fact that things aren't running super efficiently right now, we are still making golems in the middle of a drought, which I'm pretty sure we haven't done before. So I'm going to consider that a bit of a success, I think. I think that's probably a good thing. And there we go. We actually do have that second engine in District 2. So power output in the network is now 800. Demand is 530. These guys demand... How much do they demand? 200? So I think we can actually turn this one back on, and we should be fine. Network demand 730, yeah. So now we have 2 smelters up and running. I mean, admittedly, it is sort of the end of a drought, but that's still good. That's still progress. That's still a very good thing for us. So I am quite happy about that. I think that's going to be great. How many beavers or golems do we have here? We actually have another unemployed golem in District 1. So let's go ahead and move that golem down to District 3. That gives us 6 golems in District 3, which is kind of exciting. I will say I'm slightly disappointed that the golems don't do much in the way of, you know, chopping down any resources. Little bit weird. It'd be kind of great if they did. You know, if they'd go out and help take all this apart. They could do it overnight when everyone else is asleep, the way they, you know, kind of maybe should be. But, it's whatever. It'll take time. We'll get there. It'll be fine. I'm just impatient. That's my problem. In fact, I realize I'm being an idiot because what I could do is say that we have golems working in other places here. So I could, for example, put a golem into this forester if I really wanted to. I don't know if there's much point in doing that, but we might as well because we're going to do it eventually. We'll unlock it. We'll put a golem in there. We'll get a golem working as a lumberjack. And what that's going to do is free up some beavers to go and help with all of this. And again, we're going to need golems working all these jobs anyway, so we kind of might as well do this and get it sort of out of the way. We're also probably going to want golems working in water dumps. We're going to have golems working them over here, so we'll go ahead and get a golem working in that particular water dump. And so that frees up some beavers to, once again, come over here, hopefully, and help with the whole clearing out of this island. I say that, it doesn't look like any of them are actually going to help. They might have all got jobs elsewhere. There might have been vacancies I wasn't aware of. You know, it's taken me this long to realize that I don't actually need the beavers to come in here and clear things out, because what I can do is just overwrite everything. I don't need them to clear it. I can just place maple trees, which is the tree that we're going to be using for this island, because I did a little bit of reading, and apparently maple trees are the most efficient tree to go for in Timberborn because of their yield. Yes, they take a while to grow, but yeah, maple trees are going to be my tree of choice right here for this entire thing. I am going to need to get road access to that water dump, though, and apparently we do still need to clear things out, but whatever, that's not the end of the world. We can also do this as a way to get through there, which is going to be fantastic, and so that's going to be that island. It's going to be covered in maple trees. It's going to take forever, but I think once all of this grows and all of it gets planted, I think it's going to be amazing. I hope it's going to be amazing. It better be amazing. That's where I've gotten to with this. I'm threatening Timberborn and saying it better be amazing. Oh, I also forgot to mention that the drought's over. The drought's over. We've got water again, and that means that all this power is going. So I can actually go ahead and say that this can run, this can run, this can run, because I'm pretty sure, yeah, we have enough power to run everything. So metal production really should pick up quite nicely in District 2 now that we have 3 smelters running with the 2 engines and all of that good stuff. We can also get science going again because that's going to be important, which means we can get the control tower going again because that's a thing, and I guess we'll get this control tower going as well. Those control towers will probably eventually get taken down because we're not going to have golems up there right away. Or at the very least, I guess I could probably just pause the control towers so that they're not consuming science. And we probably should look at building a control tower or several down here just to cover everything. We actually have a really nice spot for one right there. So let's, well, do I want to do this? It would cover a nice area, but it is also going to consume science. I think for now, no. Maybe once all these engines are up and running, we can build more number crunchers, and then we can get more control towers, but until we're there, I think we'll chill. Also, this is getting cleared really nicely. It would be nice, though, if they would build the forester, because we could plant the trees, is what we could do. It would be really, really nice. We kind of need planks, we kind of need logs, and this district in general has none of those things, because they're getting consumed by golems, who are very keen to make, well, planks and gears. And also platforms. I built a new little path here, and it's been built so quickly, which tells me that what logs we are making are just immediately going into construction right next to the lumber mill, rather than anywhere else. Even though, oh, this isn't a priority. It is a priority. Why aren't they, wait, hold on a minute. So that's a priority, and they still went ahead and built, oh, okay. All right, I see how it is. You know, just thinking about it, we should probably just replace every single pine tree in these forestry areas with maple trees. Now, yes, the pine trees are growing, and yes, maple trees take longer to grow, but the thing to keep in mind is that a pine tree grows in 12 days and will produce 2 logs. The maple tree will grow in 30 days and produce 8. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. It would take 48 days for a single pine tree to produce the same amount of logs as a maple tree produces in 30 days. So I kind of think that's what we're going to have to do here, to be honest. So let's clear this planting area and let's go with maple trees and say that wait, do I have to oh, I actually have to chop down those trees. Oh no. Are you kidding me? So I'm not going to get any of the, oh man, that's going to take forever. Okay. So we need to clear, wait, no, hold on a minute, actually. If those grow, which they are, some of them are doing, I'm going to let my lumberjacks chop these down to get those trees. Just because I do want to. Apparently we have a maple seedling in there already and some leftover pines. We have, I guess, a few leftover pine trees here as well that apparently died, which is a little bit unfortunate. So do I have to clear those? I really don't know. Let's just get this marked up as maple right there, and we'll see what happens. Marking all this space is going to be a pain, so let me just clear that planting area as well. And I think these ones, I actually am just going to mark those resources for demolition. I'm going to mark these resources as well, just to try and get all that space cleared out as quickly as we can. And we've got some birch trees here. I think we'll mark those for demolition. We'll mark these pine trees as well. And I'm pretty sure my lumberjacks don't have a full range here, so we're just going to clear out as much as we possibly can. I'm probably going to have to redo a decent little chunk of the irrigation around here to make sure these guys don't die. But I think clearing all this out is going to be good for us. I also think, honestly, I'm just going to mark all of this for removal, and it's going to take a while, but I think replacing this will be good. Unless it lets me go in and just place maple now, which it'll let me do here, but I think I'm going to have to still remove a lot of that. Yeah. So I can put the maple in there. A lot of this has to be removed first, so it's going to be a process, but that's fine. Maple, basically, I did a bit of reading, and every forum, every Reddit thread, everywhere was like, no, maple is the best thing when you start a new game of Timberborn. Use the nearby pine trees and the nearby birch trees to get all of your wood. Immediately plant maple trees. They are so much better, so that's kind of what we're doing here. And annoyingly, that means I'm going to have to clear a lot of this planting area as well. I don't love that, but again, maple trees are apparently the way to go. So let's clear this lower planting area, and then let me go and say mark resources for demolition. I don't love that I'm having to do this, but we are going to do it, and I'm going to prioritize it because I kind of want it done quickly. And I think I'm going to prioritize... What do I want to prioritize down here? I think I'm going to prioritize all of these guys and all of these guys going away, so I can get these areas replanted nice and quickly. This one's actually been cleared out pretty quick as well, which is good, but you know, it's gonna be a process. It is absolutely gonna be a process. I also don't remember. I mean, this area obviously drains out quite quick during a drought, so some irrigation is probably gonna be needed there. I don't exactly know where to build it, but definitely gonna be needed. This area probably needs irrigation as well. So I think what I'll do is we'll go to landscaping, we'll get some levees, and I'm just going to do this. We'll just sort of square that off so it's a little better looking. And we'll go into water, we'll get ourselves a water dump, and we'll just put it there. And I think that'll honestly be just fine. In terms of a path going out there, I mean, we're going to have to chop through these maple trees, but not the end of the world. We can just go ahead and say mark those ones, I guess. And then all I need to do is bring a path sort of around like this, and that'll be fine. So again, it's going to be a process. It's going to take some time, but I think it's going to be worth it. I also realize that, yeah, this lumberjack down here is going to have range on all of that. So let's go into, I guess, plant some trees. We'll go for maple, like I've been saying, and that whole space. is going to be maple. We can do maple in this space as well. And all of this is already good to go. It's going to take forever, but we'll get there. As for golems, I actually want to check something. We have 4 golems with nothing to do in this district. I'm almost wondering if I want to make them lumberjacks. It's very tempting. It is definitely very tempting. How is this going? It's getting there. It needs 6 more logs, annoyingly, but it's definitely getting there. These pine trees are almost good to harvest, so hopefully this district can figure itself out in terms of logs, because it doesn't even have power right now, which is actually a really big deal that this district doesn't have power, because if it doesn't have power, it doesn't really make all that much food. So now that we have 5 golems with nothing to do, I think what I'll do is swap out this forester for a golem, and we'll see just how efficient they end up being. Interesting that this guy prioritizes blueberries over anything else, but he is going out and planting some trees, so that's just fine. I'm actually super tempted to swap out the workers in this builder's hut for golems just to see what happens, but I don't really think we need to do that. I think we can get away with maybe not doing that. We'll just let those golems sort of sit and chill. The good news, though, is that we do, in fact, have this forester up and running. So I'm going to swap that out for a golem, and we'll go ahead and prioritize maple trees. And we can move a golem down into District 3, which will give us a golem working as a forester, which I hope has full coverage of this island. It would be kind of nice. We also will be needing to prioritize all of this so that we have irrigation pretty much all of the time. So we'll get that going, and that'll be kind of great. But there you go. We've got this little golem going out and planting some trees. So that's going to help us in 30 days' time in District 3. We do also have these pine trees getting harvested, which is great. We have these chestnut trees coming along as well, which honestly, 24 days for 4 logs. I don't know what I was thinking there. I really don't. It doesn't seem efficient at all. I don't know why I haven't got around to replacing all of this with maple trees sooner, but apparently I'm a bit of an idiot that way. Either way, I mean, we're doing it now, so it's not the end of the world, but yeah, it would have been nice to get that done sooner. How's this going? These guys are not coming along at all, actually, which means that all of my metal blocks must be getting moved down into here, which... yeah, we have 10 in storage. That would explain why we're getting so many golems all of a sudden. Which I'm not complaining about, by the way. I kind of like the fact that we have a bunch of golems. In fact, I'm pretty sure we could unpause construction on these guys and get these additional charging stations going and then move more golems down here, which would be kind of amazing, so that we can really start leaning into the idea of replacing every beaver in this district with a golem. It's going to be good. I'm telling you, it's going to be amazing. The only thing holding us back is the fact that we don't have that many logs in here. But, I mean, as we can see, it's not going to be too... I mean, it's going to take a while to plant all of this, but it's not going to take forever. And so in hopefully a good amount of time, we can do some good things here. Although I will say, I'm almost tempted to build an engine out here so that we can, I guess, power some charging stations. I feel like, in a way, that would be a really good idea. So that we can actually have golems out here not having to cross this entire district to recharge. Because when this guy needs to recharge, it's going to be a pretty slow walk over there. And I mean, we have this space here. We have this space back here. We could get some recharging stations out here. Is it worth doing? Is that the kind of construction I want to do right now? I feel, in a way, it probably should be. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Let's mark these resources for demolition. Let's mark... How many golems are going to have out here? I guess 3 at all times, plus additionals. So, let's mark this space, and then what we'll do is prioritize tearing that down. We'll go to power. We'll go to engine. We're going to have an engine here. Are they? Oh, they are going to get rid of these. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so we'll have an engine, and we'll have 4 charging stations out here. It might take a little while to build it and get the resources, but I think it'll be worth it, because it does mean that we have, 6 charging stations at one end of District 3, 4 charging stations at the other end of District 3. It means that we can sustain more golems out here without them having to cross the entire district to recharge. And so this is the layout that I'm thinking. We have the engine, we have these guys. This actually produces more power than we need. This can produce up to 400. These guys will consume 200. So we could, if we wanted to, get, 4 more charging stations out here, which honestly we might at some points. We might want to be able to expand like that and get more charging stations here. But I kind of like having that option. I like that we're not maxing this thing out initially, so that'll be good for us. That'll hopefully help us out. We are kind of back to just waiting on wood in this district, though, which is really annoying. But as I've said, a bit of patience and these maple trees will absolutely reward us. Also interesting the fact that none of this is, this is all too far from a district, apparently, which is wild to me. I don't like that it's too far from the district. I'm kind of wondering if I build a path out here, can the beavers get there? No, it's still too far from a district. Okay, well that's a problem. That's going to complicate things a little bit. I guess I wonder if I was to go and demolish this path, and then if I was to go and say, can I plant maple trees on... I can't plant maple trees on all of this, annoyingly. I think I'm going to have to wait for these pine trees, these pine seedlings to grow, and they'll get chopped down. But I guess for now what we'll do is just cover the rest of this with maple trees, and so we can at least, give the forester here something to do. The forester, by the way, is going to be a golem as well. So we'll have that forester go out and start planting things. We can have the lumberjacks go out and start chopping down the pine trees at some point. We still have 5 unemployed golems, which is kind of crazy. I'm very tempted to move them down here. I don't know what they would do, though. I mean, I guess we've maybe got to the point where I probably could just move golems down into this space and get rid of food production. I'm slightly worried about doing that, but I kind of feel like we've probably got there. I mean, if we go to migrate population, we have 28 beavers and 3 kids. Right? So, I mean... I don't know. I'm slightly concerned about it. The golem population down here is 7. The golem population up here is 15. Yeah. Okay. There's 5 unemployed as well. All right. Migrate population for a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. And then I think we send over all of the beavers. So now there are no workers in this district. We'll get rid of the breeding pods, and now it's exclusively golems in here, which means that a lot of these buildings need to be swapped over. So this needs to be worked by a golem, this needs to be worked by a golem, and that's fine. We still have 3 unemployed golems. This probably doesn't need to be worked by golems because we're not going to be moving food anymore, so we'll just sort of leave it be. This is already being worked by a golem, so that's fine. The district center, we have a drought in 3 days again. Ugh, okay. Establishes a district with its own population. Workers in new buildings should be golems. Low priority, set this to golem workers. So they're now haulers, I guess, which is fine. And yeah, that's it's kind of wild, actually. It's kind of wild that we've made the switch. I'm enjoying it though. Although we need to get rid of so much now because we don't need a bakery, so that can go. We don't need a grist mill, so that can go. We can delete these platforms because they're just unnecessary. We don't really need these grills anymore, so that can sort of all go. Oh, hold on a minute. No. No, that's... Yeah, that was a mistake. that was definitely a mistake. All right. Well, we'll not worry too much about that. Let's clear this out at the very least. Cleared you out, and we kind of need some levies just here to deal with that problem. So let's just very quickly prioritize this. We can get rid of the farms as well. Those are no longer needed. We don't need medical beds or teeth grindstones, and we'll keep sort of the rest of the industry over there. We can get rid of the row houses. We can get rid of the water tanks. We can get rid of the medical beds that are up here as well. Rid of the large water tanks and the extra row houses there. Get rid of this guy as well. Get rid of the water pumps. And yeah, this is This is really something, man. This is, wow. I'm a little nervous about this. I'm gonna be honest. I'm definitely a little bit nervous about this, because if this backfires, it's gonna be terrible. But we have managed to strip the district back a little bit, which is okay. I think the only thing to do now is mark all of the food resources for demolition. We're gonna need another forester in here, but actually, a lot of this island is gonna be industry, but I suppose for now, at the very least, we should probably have this island be forestry, right? I think that's probably where we're at. Let the island be forestry, and as we need to expand and get more industry, we can chop the trees back. You know, as a drought has just struck, I've realized that we do, in fact, need some water in District 3 because we have irrigation to worry about. So I guess what we can do is build ourselves another water pump. I am curious, though. Can I build it up here by any chance? I absolutely could. So what I'm going to do is just get myself some levees. Yes, this is sort of a waste of wood, but I just want it to be here. I think it's going to look better. So we'll get a deep water pump right about there, and we can just run I guess just a path that sort of runs around the edge of all of this, something like that. And that'll give us a source of water for irrigation here, and eventually irrigation over here, which is going to be needed. Now, the good news is this is only a 7-day drought, and maple seedlings will dry out and die after something like 16 or 17 days. So it's not the end of the world that these guys aren't getting water right now. It's just a little bit of a pain. And it's also interesting that across the entire colony right now, we have 22 logs, because obviously we have embarked upon a journey to replace all of our pine trees with maple trees, which, as you can imagine, is it's causing some issues, is what it's doing. Now, some of these guys are 18% of the way there. These guys are 71% of the way there. So we're not too far away from a harvest. But the other issue is, of course, we moved a bunch of beavers out of District 3 into District 1, who now need to get food from District 1. District 1, by the way, was the district that was remarkably running out of food. So we're gonna need a District 4, is kind of what I'm thinking. We are 100% going to need some kind of District 4 so that we can basically house all of the beavers that are no longer in District 3. It's kind of that simple. We're going to need to do that. We're also going to need to get another forester to cover all of this space. So I think what I'll do for a forester is keep it relatively simple and just put a forester, honestly, here, I think, or somewhere like down here. Actually, here isn't a bad spot because it gives me coverage over on that island, which I like. So we'll get a forester here. I do want to prioritize that, even if we don't have the resources to build it right now, because the second we get that, we can go ahead and start planting the rest of all of this, which is going to be fantastic. I am slightly concerned, though, I will say, because we have supply for 45 hours in here. As soon as the supply of logs runs out, we can no longer recharge the golems in this district. And when that happens, we have a major problem, because they won't operate as haulers. They go to an unemployed state, and they won't move any logs that we do happen to get into the engines. So we do need to stay on top of that. We're definitely playing a bit of a risky game, chopping out all these trees and doing all this stuff, but I think with a bit of time, we'll be okay. We also have 2 unemployed beavers in District 1 right now, so I'm going to swap out some lumberjacks. I've already got this one swapped out. We're going to swap out this guy as well, and I might swap out one of these guys too, although we don't really need to. It's not really a priority. It's just I'm kind of just doing it because I can. But I guess, I mean, it is nice seeing all this get covered with maple trees. And like I said, you know, some of these guys, 13%, 74%, the percentages are all over the place. So I think, you know, another little bit, another couple of days, we're going to see a wave of maple trees just start to perpetually grow and be chopped down. And hopefully that's going to turn into a really, really solid supply of logs just all the time. I don't think we've been as low as 25 logs across the entire colony in ever. I mean, we have, you know, early game, we definitely ran out a couple of times, but we're definitely feeling this is what I'm doing. This is also too far away from a district, annoyingly. So I think we have to wait for these guys to get chopped down, which I don't love. I don't love that I have to do that, but that's just what we're going to do. For the rest of it, we'll just, you know, replant with maple and see what happens. Again, it's going to be a case of being patient. You know, I'm starting to think that the process of swapping out all of these trees might not be as straightforward as I thought it was going to be, and that this sort of wave of maple trees that I was talking about isn't really going to happen, because we are peaking out at maybe 35 logs across the entire colony before it drops down to nothing. So basically, whatever logs we're getting, we are immediately losing again. Now, I do think that might change whenever this place starts to get some harvest. We've got some 52% grown trees in here, which is good news. We have some trees in here which are coming along as well. We got 54% there. We got some pine trees coming along as well. So I think it's gonna be a multi-cycle process getting this to properly bounce back, which is, I guess that's okay. I mean, we have plenty of water. We have just about enough food. Although I will say on the food front, we actually have very little wheat in storage in District 1. We have an awful lot of wheat flour, which says to me that we could probably put some of these golems. We have 6 unemployed golems. We could probably just go ahead and afford to put them into some bakeries. So we'll get, you know, a couple into those 2 bakeries, and we have some grist mills down here that honestly we probably don't need to put golems in. In fact, I would hazard a guess that we could probably take the golems out of these grist mills because we don't have all that much wheat, and then we just go ahead and put, you know, the remaining golems into the bakeries. So now all of our bakeries are worked by golems, which will be a 24/7 thing. So food production in District 1 should pick up quite nicely. 1,500 in there is not very good for the size of the district. We have just about enough food in this district. It would be nice to have a little bit more. We also have some homeless beavers that we'll deal with at some point as well. But I think my main priority is just this wood thing, as well as the fact that these guys are having some problems. It seems that we might have run out of power at one point there. I think we're cutting it very close. We have a little bit of power in here, and we have some logs being harvested, so we were right on the edge of having this district get completely destroyed because of a lack of power, but by the looks of it, we have the golems heading over for a quick recharge, so we'll be all right. We've got this being restocked with 15 hours worth of fuel. This guy will grab some fuel at some point once the logs become available, so we're doing okay. District 3 is gonna be a perpetual work in progress, I think. This tree and wood situation is going to be a perpetual work in progress, but at the very least, we should see the amount of food in District 1 pick up a little bit, and I do absolutely think that the 41 unemployed beavers in that district will need to go and get their own space, which might be down here. It might be worth trying to turn this into its own little district. It doesn't have to be anything huge, but it could be forestry focused. It'll obviously need some food, and it'll need some irrigation, but I think that's probably my next step, is turning that little hill into its own district, and maybe coming down here and trying to turn some of this space into a district as well. I think I did talk about putting a district down here, so I mean, we could do it. We have the connection. The beavers can just run through the forest, although I don't know if they can actually get up onto this sort of raised section. So the district center might have to be down here, at least temporarily, and then we just sort of move it. But that's a problem for future me to figure out. We're also up to 46 logs at the moment, so I think we're starting to see things kind of figure themselves out, which is great. Honestly, this whole project of moving golems into District 3, it's not gone anywhere near as smoothly as I thought it was going to. I thought it'd be a really simple switch over, but it absolutely hasn't been. It's been an absolute nightmare. We'll get another golem working in there as well. We're probably going to have a drought in a few days, so it'll be nice to have this space good to go. We've got some 58% grown trees in here, 57, so not too long until this place is good to go. I think the only thing we really need to do now is get some lumberjacks in here, really. So let's go ahead and mark up a couple of trees to be removed. So that one can go. And I'm going to say that one can go. And I think that one can go as well. And if we prioritize those, I don't think we need to prioritize those, but we'll do it anyway. We can then go ahead and very simply just get a lumberjack flag in each of those spots. And hopefully that'll be fantastic coverage. I think that does cover pretty much the entire island, which is what we're looking for. So we'll get that done. We've got, are you working there? I don't think you are. I don't think we have enough golems to work in all those spots, but like I said, it's coverage, right? It covers the entire island, so once it starts growing, we can start chopping down all those trees, and hopefully we'll see some good things happen. We've also got this coming along, which is finally starting to get some of the materials that it needs. And as for the rest of this, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if this whole move towards maple was a good idea or a bad idea. I also want to point out that we are almost done with all of the scrap metal at ground level here, which is terrifying. Still a decent chunk of it up here. That's a lot of scrap metal up there, but yeah, we are starting to get through the scrap metal as well. And so once again, a drought has started, but we are seeing better numbers of logs. It was up at near 80 just a second ago. It's actually just past 80 right there. So I think now we're starting to see the effects of a bunch of the maple trees growing. This really did take a really long time. I'm not going to say just how long this one episode has been going on, but I don't know how long it's going to be in the edit, but good lord, this is the longest episode of Timberborn by far in terms of how much I'm just sitting here watching. That's the thing. I get a lot of, I don't get a lot, but occasionally I get asked, like, why do you cut bits out of videos? Like, what do you cut out of videos? You know, every time there's a little, like, wipe transition or a fade to black or a cut, like, what was cut out? Is there, like, an extended edition of all these videos? And I've seen people in, like, my Twitch chat and on Discord being like, man, if you open Patreon or something like that, you could do, like, extended editions of your videos with all the stuff that gets cut out. All the stuff that gets cut out is, in this video anyway, has been me sitting here like this, not moving the camera. I'm just looking at numbers. I'm just looking and waiting for the number of logs to go up, the amount of water to go up, the amount of food to go up, the number of golems to go up. That's most of what this has been. Or I'm waiting on the drought ending, or I'm waiting on power being produced so that my golems don't, run out of energy. It's mostly that. The extended edition of this video would just be like 3 hours-ish of me sitting here doing nothing because that's kind of it. I could go and do other projects. I could go and we could focus on building out all of this, but that needs logs. This change to maple has just drastically, it's slowed everything down, but I think it's going to be good long-term. We're seeing, 195. We're about to pass 200 logs again. And that's not considering the fact that none of this has grown yet. These guys are still at like 75% at best. So we are, I think, approaching a place where logs are no longer going to be an issue, which is fantastic because it means we can build these bridges. We can build this stuff down here, which is stuff we're actually working on, which is wild. That's actually kind of wild that we're working on this, but it's going to be good. I think it's going to be really, really good getting all this stuff together, getting all this stuff in here. I don't love that we don't have irrigation in this space. Although I will say, I think we could probably just mark these resources for demolition and clear out that space, because I'm kind of wondering, we have 142 metal blocks in storage, and most of those, well, 50 of those, are in District 3 right here. So I'm kind of wondering if once this district starts to get a really good supply of logs, should we build another golem factory down here? Because we could. I mean, we'd need more power, which is where a lot of those metal blocks are going to go, but we're also going to need more charging. I guess we should hold off. I guess we should hold off. We do need to get the engine done. We do need to get these guys done. So I might be getting a bit carried away. We'll clear the space for it. And I mean, if we look at this and go to science, you know, golem part factories, we can get, you know, 2 of them right next to each other there. We can build another one up on top of them. So we can have the 3 part factories here if we really want them to be. So it's not the end of the world. We can totally do this. We can actually do a little interesting design. Actually, no, we can't do an interesting design with them. Never mind. We can do the part factories here. So yeah, if we want to do this, we can totally do this. And then we can have the golem assembler up on top of the one factory that doesn't have another factory on top of it. So there's options. There's definitely some options there. I definitely think that's getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. Although I think a control tower would probably be worth getting in here at this point. I just don't know where exactly to put it. Like here, maybe. I think a control tower over on this island could maybe be a good idea. Like right there seems like a really good place for a control tower. I really like that idea. I'm going to be honest. The only thing is these guys don't... Hold on, what does a control tower do? So a control tower just gives them more speed, more work speed, which I guess would be good for these guys. Well, I don't know if it would, because they chop down a tree and then they wait 30 days to do it again. Like, they don't need more work speed, right? So I don't know if we need a control tower for those guys. Maybe for these ones? So like a control tower in here somewhere would probably make more sense than a control tower for the woodcutting beavers. Or like this control tower kind of makes sense because it gives us massive bread production. But I don't think control towers for woodcutter golems, rather, makes all that much sense. So yeah, we might just have to sit and deal with the fact that we're not doing control towers down here, at least not right now. Although I think what I will do, just before we move to wrap up this video, which has honestly gone on forever, is I do kind of want to look into a better way to do power. Because these guys do occasionally run out. When we don't have logs in this district, we do run out of power. And when that happens, I have to send beavers down here to handle things and then get rid of the beavers. Now, what I'm thinking on one hand is that we could potentially link all of the districts or all of the colony power together. So link all of the engines, all of the water wheels, everything gets linked together. They all share power. That would be one option. I just don't know if it's, I don't know if it's a good one. I mean, honestly, power down here at the minute isn't an issue, but if we do want to build this factory, it will be. So I guess the other question becomes, do I want to have multiple sets of engines? How much power do you consume? That's probably an important question. So the golem part factory is 150. I mean, we can go and look at it, right? We need 2 of these guys to power 3 factories and 1 assembler. So I guess what we would do is, let's see, let me go in here and let me build this, and then let me build this. And if I go to power and I go to engines, I can do 2 engines just like that. And then we'll have, obviously, you know, some, a path going down there. I think we could probably get rid of some trees there as well, just to clear out the space. So we'll get a path. We'll get a little, let's have platforms like this that sort of goes around everything, which will look kind of lovely. And then what we need is, oh boy, I might want to go back one further with this actually, just so I can get an elevated section in front of it. Although actually, no, we probably don't need to do that. So then what we want to do is go and get the golem part factory, which we might need to do this actually. Okay, yeah, no, we don't need to worry about it. I've got an idea. Basically, we do this, and then the golem assembler. And that's our factory on, or in District 3. And then in terms of getting up there, I just need some platforms and some stairs and stuff like that, which, yeah, I think I'm going to move this back, actually. I think it's going to just be better if I move it back. And so this right here is the layout that we're going to go for. I decided to put the assembler up top because I think it's just going to look really cool, and that also presented an opportunity to get a control tower in here, which is honestly just there for aesthetics, but I think it looks really cool as well. We also have our first maple trees growing over here, which is lovely. We're almost at 300 trees or logs across the entire colony, with a bunch of maple trees good to be harvested over here in District 1 as well. So I think it's safe to say that the logs issue is no longer an issue, which is great because it was kind of a total pain when it was an issue. So hopefully we'll see this engine come up and get built in no time at all. It's mostly needing gears. I'm going to prioritize all of this, actually. And I'm also going to prioritize these paths around here. And then all of this is going to be a super low priority. I'm really not concerned with building this anytime soon. I mean, they have nothing else to build here, but, you know, if there's anything else for them to do, such as, you know, the levees and the floodgates and stuff like that, they'll go and do that rather than building this new factory, because this new factory, it'll be cool. It'll be great to have it. It's just, you know, it's a thing. Also, down there, day 21, cycle 21, Coghead 1 broke down. We just lost our first golem, which is kind of wild to think about. That guy lasted quite a while. They really do. They really do seem to last quite a while. Let's have a little look at my golems and see. Can I see how long or how old they are? So population, let's go down. So Coghead 2 is at 4%. Durability 4%. I don't know when this guy was. I guess it doesn't really tell us when they were first made. I can't scroll back through either. So yeah, we're going to start losing golems. So we do need to be replacing them, but that's fine. I think we're producing golems faster than we were originally. So I think we'll be able to reach sort of a, we'll reach a point where we're producing them as quick as they're dying, I think. Well, maybe. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. You know, we might end up producing way too many golems, but I mean, we have 37 of them. Wait, no, we have 41 golems in total, I think. We have like 41 golems, which, let's have a little look here. We can actually see golems. Yeah, 41. We have 41 golems. That's kind of wild. That is actually kind of wild. That's kind of crazy to think about, that we've managed to get that population going quite nicely. Really, really pleased about that. But I think we can leave it there for today. It's taken a minute to get here for me. I don't know how long it's going to be in the edit, but I think we've made some really good, really important progress here. I think we've made some really huge changes that are going to benefit us in the long run. Now that we have these maple trees coming and going, hopefully we can get a really fantastic stockpile of logs, which is going to allow us to go out and start building District 4, District 5, and so on. Hopefully we can start getting these floodgates in here as well, so that we can control the water that little bit better. In fact, I think what I'll do is I'm going to prioritize building this, because it, you know, once this drought's done, water's going to start flowing through there. If we could block that up, it would be kind of great. If we could get this built as well, it would mean a connection where this forester can do some stuff on this island, but it's also going to give us access to control the water here as well. And so we can just experiment a little bit, and we can see what happens. We'll see how well things start going with all of the extra bits of water control and stuff like that. And my God, they built that engine already. How the hell? How the hell have they done that and not built this one? What do you mean? Hold on a second. We need we need this one built. Why did they? Are you kidding me? That was zero priority. There was no priority whatsoever on that engine, and they're like, I'm a golem. I don't care. Oh, that's kind of annoying. that's actually kind of annoying, but sure, whatever. It's not the end of the world, I guess. I would really like this one to get done so I can get these charging stations done, because then, you know, the golems don't have to cross the island. But hey, doesn't matter what I want. It only matters what the golems want. So Oh man, yeah, let's leave it there for today. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.